that some people know more about your life than they know about their own. They know what you did, what you said, what you posted, what you achieved, and they always seem to have an opinion about every step you take. Someone once said, "Most criticism is jealousy, and most advice is intrusion." Those who have meaningful work to do rarely have time to criticize others. At first glance, this quote may sound harsh. After all, not all criticism comes from jealousy, and not all advice is an intrusion. There are people in this world who genuinely want the best for us, people who point out our mistakes with honesty and good intentions. But this quote is not talking about those people. It is talking about a different kind of person, the kind who spends a large part of their life watching others, analyzing their decisions, judging their choices, counting their successes and failures, as if other people's lives have become their personal project. And perhaps the most important question is not, are these people right or wrong? The real question is, why do they do it in the first place? Why would someone spend hours discussing another person's life, while their own life remains exactly the same? And why does it often seem that the people most concerned with others are the least concerned with themselves? What drives a person to watch others more closely than they watch their own life? And why are there people who spend so much of their time monitoring others in the first place? Perhaps because criticism is not one thing. There is criticism that seeks to improve, and there is criticism that seeks to harm, and the difference between them is enormous. A constructive critic does not search for your mistakes in order to feel superior. They search for them because they see something in you worth improving. Their goal is not to stand above you. Their goal is to help you become better than you are today. From a psychological perspective, people who offer constructive criticism are usually focused on solutions more than faults, because their objective is not to prove that you are wrong, but to help you grow. And perhaps that is why constructive criticism is often costly. It requires time, it requires understanding, and it requires genuine care. Destructive criticism, on the other hand, is much easier. It requires no understanding, no effort, and sometimes not even truth. All it needs is someone to aim its judgment at. Perhaps that is why it spreads so quickly, because destroying something is always easier than building it. From a philosophical perspective, the destructive critic faces a strange problem. They feel powerful when they diminish something another person has created, as if they are trying to rise, not by building themselves, but by lowering everyone else. And that matters, because some people discover that criticism is easier than achievement, that mockery is easier than effort, and that judging others is easier than judging themselves. Perhaps that is why some of the loudest critics in the world rarely build anything worth remembering, and perhaps after all of this, the question is not, how do we avoid criticism? Because that is impossible. As long as a person is doing something, there will be people who admire it, people who disagree with it, and people who criticize it. Perhaps wisdom lies in learning the difference between the voice that wants to improve you and the voice that wants to stop you. From a psychological perspective, we cannot prevent others from judging us, but we can choose which voices we allow into our minds. Because the most dangerous critics are not always the ones speaking outside of us. They are often the voices we continue carrying inside us for years. From a philosophical perspective, perhaps the real problem is that we give other people's opinions more power than they deserve. We forget that every person sees the world through their own window and judges others through the lens of their own experiences, which means not every criticism is truth, just as not every compliment is truth. Perhaps that is why the best thing a person can do is remain focused on building their own life. Because building takes time, learning takes time, growth takes time, and those who have a meaningful purpose eventually discover that their time is too valuable to spend watching everyone else. And now, after everything you've heard, do you agree with this quote? Most criticism is jealousy and most advice is intrusion. Those who have meaningful work to do rarely have time to criticize others. Do you think it accurately describes reality, Or do you think it goes too far in judging people? Share your opinion in the comments. Perhaps the most interesting ideas are the ones people disagree about.